Hello, and welcome to another Sitecore Stories. Today I'm catching up with Marina from the XM Cloud team, and we're going to be talking all about accessibility in XM Cloud Forms. So, let's dive in. Okay, thanks for joining me today, Marina.
Thanks, Rob, and really nice to meet you. Thank you for the invitation.
So I guess before we dive in and talk all about forms, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your role here at Sitecore?
Yes, of course. So I live in Athens, Greece. I'm based here. I come from a business and marketing background, which I love integrating into my work as a product manager. I first began my journey at Lucent as a PM, leading made several projects like a full platform redesign, rethinking core functionality, building new features. And then I started joining XM Cloud at first through the Forms project, driving the implementation, early access up to the GA release of Forms. And currently, in my role as a product manager here, I own both Forms and the design library, which is a new application that we're building to elevate the XM Cloud ecosystem.
Exciting stuff. So before we start to take a look at Forms itself, can you talk a little bit about the problem we were seeing in the industry that caused us to build out the new feature?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I think these days, and this is a really good thing, accessibility standards become more and more important for all tools to meet. So this problem was reported to us a lot by our customers, the forms customers and partners, the people who designed the forms for their customers, obviously impacting their customers, the end customers. We noticed that many forms that were created through our application, most of the forms could not meet all accessibility standards. And that led to several issues. For example, I'm going to mention some major issues there. Keyboard navigation challenges. People who rely on keyboards and struggle to navigate to forms items like drop-downs, items on a drop-down properly without keyboard navigation. Screen reader compatibility issues. So forms lacked the proper labels, making them difficult for visually impaired users, for example, to complete because they were not properly announced, the labels or any text. There was poor color contrast. Sometimes text and form elements designed by users lacked sufficient contrast, making them hard to read for end users. And we were not detecting this. There were some error handling issues, minor issues, like we had error messages for all our fields, but this was not necessarily detected properly. And there was also no proactive guidance for our users. So as they were designing a form, there was no way of knowing some elements if accessibility criteria could be met. So yes, like I said, those issues were reported a lot by our customers, impacting the experience of their end users on their website. So we decided it's a good time to address this and make forms an application which is easier to meet those criteria, limiting inclusivity and meeting compliance with accessibility standards.
Yeah, I know accessibility is so important nowadays.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
how does what we've built kind of address those problems you mentioned then?
What we've built is actually separated into two parts. This is how we worked on it. First of all, our engineering team did an audit on our code to detect some fixes that we had to do on our side, and it wasn't really on users to fix while designing. So our team, and I really would like to mention my colleague's name here, Panagiotis Papoulias, who worked heavily on this. They did an amazing work. They did this scan and started fixing, improving, basically, some system issues that we were having. For example, we improved keyboard navigation. We ensured that all form elements follow a logical tab order and have visible focus indicators. We added area attributes where needed to improve the robustness of the form structure. We also enhanced screen reader compatibility, ensuring all labels, instructions, error messages, any text on the form is now properly announced. We improved error handling by making messages more descriptive and with better signage. And we also introduced autocomplete. So email and phone fields now have automatic autocomplete. And there's also, there are a couple of fields that you can configure autocomplete while designing the form. So this is the first part that we did. So we fixed all the system issues that we could from our side. But then we decided that we could also introduce a checker, basically, real time, for users to have some warnings for the design that they're building and have the opportunity to fix this design before making this live. So we introduced an automated checker. It detects common accessibility issues while users are designing the forms, and it provides real-time feedback and suggestions, helping users fix the issues before publishing the form and pointing them actually to the exact place that the issue exists. So this tool highlights problems such as missing labels, alt text missing from images, descriptive text missing from links, and poor color contrast on the navigation buttons, for example. And in that way, I think this encourages users a lot to create more accessible forms. It helps them a lot and reduces the need for post-launch fixes as well. So these are the solutions we implemented, and we want to ensure that all forms built by our app are usable by a wider audience, improve user experience, comply with accessibility standards, of course, which is really important. And I think this actually enhances overall usability for everyone.
That sounds awesome. I guess, can we see this in action?
Yes, of course. So this is the forms dashboard. I have created a form in advance, of course. So I will try to design this myself, basically. So what we have here is just an image acting as a logo, and I'm going to add also some fields in here. So right away, when I drop this whole layout in, I have a first issue detected, which is the alternative text that I haven't added to my image. Now, this is real time, like I said. So the moment I delete the label, for example, the warnings here become 2. So if I open now the accessibility tool and I open the issues detected, so this little icon here will actually point you and open the settings of the image that has the problem. So anything now I put here, it is detected as an alternative text, and the issues are reduced to 1. And the same would happen to with a label. So it's taking me, it is highlighting basically the field that has the issue, and it is taking me directly to its settings to fix the issue. So now I don't have any warnings. It would be the same with the button. So if, for example, I had something like very not noticeable, not with a good contrast, over here you see the issue is detected immediately, and with the same, it's the same way. You can just go in and fix it, and the issue is gone. Another thing we can see is in preview. Let me see if I have some options here. Yeah. In preview, I can now operate this just using my keyboard. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm selecting number 1, closing it, and this is all now just using the keyboard. And last but not least, it's very interesting. Short text has this autocomplete feature that I mentioned, and here you can actually configure the type that is expected, so your browser actually knows what suggestions to provide. So you can say that this is supposed to be a first name field, and so this is basically the suggestions that the browser will provide to the end user filling the form.
That's awesome. I think that's going to be really useful for people building forms in XM Cloud. I guess the last question I've got, if anyone has any questions about forms in general, about the accessibility or the rest of the product, what's the best way to get hold of you?
Yes, of course. If there are any questions, you can find me in the Sitecore Slack, the community channel, and pop up any questions there. And if there's also a more technical question, again, my team worked on this specifically. Well, it was not only Panayotis, but like I mentioned, he did a heavy part of the work. But I can also get you in contact with the engineering team that did this amazing feature.
That's great. Well, thanks for joining me today, Marina. Hopefully we get to speak again soon.
Thanks, Rob, for the invitation. Thanks.